Hey, welcome back, folks. Today we have another session of trying to reverse engineer the weighing process and trying to determine whether or not a set is weighable. In my last video, I proved that in the box I received, the Evolving Skies set was weighable because of the weight differential between the white versus green code cards. This time, I figured I'll do this again and explain to you why Fusion Strike, at least the booster box I got, was not weighable. And just to prove, with proof, how this stuff all really works, right? So let's get right to it. So let's start by weighing the weights of the non-foil cards. Regular non-foil card typically weighs somewhere between 1.82 to 1.83, as you can see. And it's fairly consistent, but they do have a slight range, which is 0.01. So 1.82 to 1.83 seems to be consistently the weight of a non-foil card. Moving on. Reverse. A reverse card typically weighs more than the non-foil card. The range, as you can see, is 1.84 to 1.86, give or take a 0.01 of a difference. Again, reverse cards are heavier than the non-foil. Moving on to the ultra rare V cards. So these V cards typically weigh 2 grams. These are heavier than your reverse, and they are heavier than your non-foil by a lot. 2 grams. Consistently 2 grams on the ultra rare V, as you can see. Moving on, we have the holo rare. So the holo rares weigh 1.97 and 1.98. That seems to be the weight range. 1.96, okay. .98. So again, there sometimes is a slight difference in the range, but overall, on average, the holo rares are 1.97 on average, give or take. And I only pulled one of these from the Fusion Strike box, but this is the Ultra Rare VMAX, which weighs 1.97, which is basically the same weight as a holo rare. And lastly, we have the Alternate Art Full Art card. This weighs 1.98. I also pulled the Gengar Alternate Art, and I'm not going to take it out of the sleeve, but basically it weighs the same thing. So these Alternate Art cards, they weigh the same as a holo rare card, so that's important to note. And finally, the thing that's the most significant weight that you need to find out, which is the code card differential. So typically, the code card differential will tell you whether or not a set is weighable. So it looks like the black bordered code cards weigh anywhere between 1.22 to 1.24, with 1.23 being the average. Moving on to the white border code card, it is 1.36 or 1.37 or 1.38, give or take. 0.01 of a gram of difference. But again, this is important because with this information, we can plug it into Excel, create a model, and figure out how all of this stuff works. Let's define what it means to be a weighable set and what it means to be not weighable. There's some people who are smartasses and they say, of course it's weighable. You can put the cards onto a scale and it's weighable, duh. Well, of course, but that's not what I mean by weighable. In the context of weighable, what I'm trying to say is you can use the weight of a pack to accurately predict whether or not it has a hit, which is defined to be holo or better versus not being able to do that, or unweighable. All right, so that's what I mean. Now, let's take a look at our Excel model. I've built this evolving skies model in the past, and just to review how it works, you can take a look at my previous video. But basically, the gist of it is you take the average weight of each type of card and you put it into Excel. As you can see, the key difference is the difference between a white and green code card. There's a 0.20 difference, and that's important. So basically how this works is there are 9 non-hollow cards in a pack. You take the 9 cards, multiply that by the weight of the non-hollow cards. So you get a baseline of 16 grams. Then you take the reverse, the weight of the wrapper, add it there, you add the reverse, and then each code card could be either green or white. So depending on the type of pack, you add either green or white. So in a VMAX pack, you know it has a white code card. So basically you take the white code card, you add it to the VMAX weight, and that's the weight of the pack. So as you can see, in Evolving Skies, why is it weighable? Why are the light packs weighable? It's because of the green versus white code card. Because there is a 0.20 differential between the code cards, the weight of them, the regular rares end up being the heaviest pack, always. Of course, you know, maybe you found code cards that are not similar in terms of weight, and that's why your box or your code cards or packs are unweighable, right? There's no difference. And I'm going to show you why that's the case. Basically, the Fusion Strike box that I opened on my last video had this exact phenomenon. So I just recorded all of the weight classification between the different types of cards, right? The white code cards, which are the newer ones, versus black code cards. So basically, they have a range in terms of weight differential, but on average, the difference between the white versus black code card this time is 0.15. And why does that matter? It's because when you take a hit, right, which is a hollow or better, the difference between hollow and non-hollow card is also 0.15. And that's important because when the difference between a hollow and non-hollow is the same as the white versus black code card differential, it makes the set unweighable, right? The whole point of having a white versus a black code card is to substitute the weight differential, which is 0.15. When you have this differential, it makes the set unweighable. And as you can see in my model, we basically plug in the same numbers, add them all up, and then you take a look at this, right? There's barely any difference between the heavy versus light. In fact, if you take a look at this, a 0.03 gram, 0.03 gram of a difference, there's basically the same variance in every type of card. So you're not going to be accurately able to pinpoint what pack will contain the hits. So basically, what makes a set weighable versus not weighable? The difference lies between the code card differential. If you can find a booster box that has code differential of 0.2 or above, that box is weighable. However, if you're finding that your box, the code card differential is anywhere below 0.2, it's not going to be weighable, as you can see. So this is why there's so much debate on Twitter, on TikTok, on forums, Discord. People are saying, this says weighable, this says not weighable. Well, it's because Pokemon has multiple manufacturers. People are getting different sets from different sources, and sometimes they're weighable, sometimes they're not. So again, this is how and why people are seeing such stark differences between either it's weighable or it's not. So there's really no definitive answer to whether or not modern is weighable. If Pokemon Company is doing their job right, they are implementing this code differential to substitute between the pack weight difference between hollow and non-hollow. If they do that correctly, which is 0.15 grams of a difference, then your pack is not going to be weighable. But if they screw up for some reason, right? If the code card difference is above 0.2 grams, then it is weighable. And that's how this stuff works. So I hope you learned something. Take it for what you will. This is the evidence. This is my presentation. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.